Hi, I'm Baldur, and this is the Conducting Coaching podcast, where we talk about conducting from the inside. Applications for the next Lucerne Festival Academy Contemporary Conducting Program have just started, and I thought I'd share a few things about applications with you. Some conductors I talk to send in applications for courses or jobs, and many have the feeling that they just never get selected, and they don't really know why. I look at a lot of applications, and obviously this is my subjective point of view. But I also sometimes sit on panels and share evaluations with other people, so I can see a little bit what they think and how they look at applications. This is obviously nothing to do with your conducting, but it's just simply to help you to present yourselves in the best possible way and to give you the best of a chance to get invited for interviews or for auditions and so on. The first thing I would say to everybody would be to make sure that you really know what you're applying for. Read the job description or the course description and then make sure you don't send a generic application. It's really annoying if one reads an application that could be really for anything. It's important that you register what people are looking for and that one knows that you've looked at the details of the course or the job description. Then make sure you follow exactly what the requirements are. Requirements are very different from one country to another or from one job to another, so it's important that you follow them really 100%, so that you send exactly the type of material that is required, that the videos are in the format they need to be, and so on. One gets a lot of applications, and the ones that don't fit or don't comply with the specifications for some reasons get discarded immediately. For example, if you have a field of, let's say, 200 applications, somebody in the administration will usually see if all the applications meet exactly the requirements. And if that's not the case, the ones that don't get weeded out immediately. So please make sure that you're complying exactly with what is specified in the advert. Then a few words about CVs. First of all, please just send things related to conducting. We realize that you're at the start of your careers and maybe you have a career already as an instrumentalist or a composer, but what we are really interested in is what you did in terms of conducting. All the rest can go somewhere as a footnote into your CV. If you're young, obviously one is aware that you won't have a massive CV. But every sort of course and everything that is relevant should be on the application or inside your CV. Make sure your CVs are short and the most important things are instantly visible. So make sure that the most important things can be seen straight away without having to look for them. Again, just make it as easy as possible for people to find what they're looking for. Then further on, please don't lie. We are aware that you might not have conducted many orchestras yet or might not have much of a conducting history. That's why you're applying in the first place. But please don't invent course participations, studies or jobs that you didn't really do. One always checks with people, conducting teachers or other people who you mention in your CV. And if one finds out that some things are not true or not quite accurate, that sheds a really bad light on you as a candidate. Then a short word about references. If references are not specifically required, in my view, it's enough to send contact details of a few referees. I personally don't read references because one knows that they're always good. People who are really experienced at writing references, though, they're good at putting things between the lines, so in a way, one can see a little bit what they want to see about or what they want to say about the candidate. But mostly the references don't give you much of an idea about somebody. Contacts of referees are useful because you can use them to find out a personal point of view or experiences somebody had with you as a person. Then cover letters, video presentations, and basically statements of motivation. We usually ask for a video presentation just to make sure that you explain your motivation and why you want to apply for a certain job or course. I think this is useful in many ways. It first of all gives you simply a bit more personal contact to a candidate. It also shows, for example, if you know exactly what you're applying for, and so on. In your statements of motivation, if it's a video or a cover letter, please try and be authentic. Overly prepared presentations will come across as fake and vacuous. Equally, if you take absolutely no care about the sound or the background, or what you're saying in fact, this comes across as you not really being interested in a job. You never know how you're being perceived, but being genuine gives you the best chance. Then a few words about videos. This is a big subject. Years ago, videos weren't really required. So many auditions or selections were made based on a CV basis. But then videos have come along and have become obviously an important, if not the most important part of conductors' applications. Videos are, in my view, much more meaningful, obviously, than a CV or a statement of motivation or any type of reference. But they still give just part of a picture of who you are as a conductor. Now, having said that, I'll point out a few things that for me personally are important in application videos. First of all, they have to show you from the front. Some videos are filmed from the audience or sometimes from quite far back, and it's impossible to see the interaction between you and the musicians and your physical expression and your face. Then please make sure that the videos show some kind of interaction. So make sure they are not just on your face or on your hands, but they actually show a little bit of the orchestra as well, because one wants to see if your gestures get across, if you connect with the musicians and if they really go with you. On the other hand, also make sure that you're still at the center of the image, because if a video is filmed from too far away, it's impossible to see the finer details of your interaction on stage. It doesn't really matter if you film a rehearsal or a concert, but I would say in any case it's important that the excerpt or the excerpts show you conducting uninterruptedly for a good stretch. And by this I mean maybe a couple of minutes. It's always advisable, and it says something about you as a conductor and your versatility, if you send excerpts in various styles. For me, the maximum length or the maximum reasonable length of an excerpt should be something like maybe 10 minutes. Nobody's going to watch an entire Brahms 4 and an entire Dvorak 9. It's much better to have excerpts that are a bit shorter, like 2 or 3 continuous minutes of conducting, with maybe an excerpt from each movement of a symphony rather than long and unedited videos. On the other side, make sure you don't just edit the few best moments from a movement. So 10 seconds of an exciting gesture or another 15 seconds of an especially successful moment won't give you a true impression of who you are as a conductor. Make sure you have a few minutes of uninterrupted conducting on your videos. And as I say, a rehearsal is fine and sometimes shows interesting aspects of you as a conductor. It's simply best to analyze yourselves and see how you come across best. Next point, make sure you take care of the sound quality. Just don't use the microphone of a video camera that is behind the horns or something. Use an external microphone that gives you at least a sound perspective from the front of the orchestra, and better sound quality than a mobile phone or a video camera would have. It doesn't have to be professional sound, but at least the details of a performance have to be recognizable, and the sound quality has to be acceptable. Generally, in terms of quality, people are used to seeing much better footage nowadays, and I mean technically better footage. So make sure your recordings are of a certain acceptable technical standard, even if you have to invest some money. If you need to invest in some equipment like an external microphone, do it for the sake of the quality of your applications and a way of showing yourself to the outside world. Last point about videos, make sure your stuff really works. If you have videos that are embedded or uploaded on other platforms like Vimeo or YouTube, make sure they work with one click. They don't require passwords, and make sure that people see what you want them to see in the best and quickest way possible. Just talking about platforms, also check your internet presence, because sometimes you will get Googled or people will just look at the first things they see about you, even on social media or so. Make sure you take care what is visible and what comes up when one searches for your name. Then a few final thoughts. You have to live with the fact that conducting is completely subjective. I've been on many panels where people had completely the opposite opinion from each other, even between conducting teachers or people who are used to looking at young conductors. Sometimes people would value completely opposite things. There are elements that maybe everybody will look out for example, genuine musicianship, authenticity, expressiveness. But it's not just your conducting that is important, it is also your personality. Because usually you will come into a situation where people look for a specific kind of person that can deal with and integrate into a certain situation. So for example, they will think if you as a person will fit the environment of their course or their job. So make sure your applications are personal and genuine and eloquent about yourselves. If you apply for jobs or courses in other countries, at least a little bit of knowledge of a local language is always a bonus. People don't just look simply for the best conductor, but they look for the most suited person for a specific situation. Thanks for listening. To send us your comments or suggestions, please write us a message on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date with all the conducting coaching news and events.